Hello and welcome to today's episode of my show through a trauma-informed lens, Soma-Psyche-Soul. I'm Aneta Itchak and I'm your host here. Thank you so much for joining me here in this space. Today I want to talk about something that is the essence of all the work that we do in our 160-hour Trauma-Informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women training certification. And it is one of the most radical healing practices that I know, a practice that I call embodied listening. So as we are arriving in this space, I want you to take a moment to reconnect with yourself, to turn inward, to check in with yourself how you are, whether you are out walking, whether you're sitting down, whether you are lying down and relaxing. Take a moment, turn inward, check in with yourself how you are in this moment, in the wholeness of your experience. In our training certification, we often talk about how we are able to hold space for others in a safe enough way, in a way that is non-judgmental, in a way that is trauma-aware and trauma-informed, in a way that allows the other person to feel safe enough to explore what's true for them on so many different levels of their experience. I want to start with really talking about what embodied listening is and what it is not. So embodied listening isn't about fixing. It's not about interpreting. It's not about analyzing what's going on for somebody. It's about creating safe enough space for someone to explore what's going on for them. It's about opening to what is already here, what's present here. It's about listening to the words, what's being said, and also listening to what's not being said and what's communicated in a non-verbal way through somebody's posture, through somebody's rhythm, through somebody's tone of voice, through somebody's facial expressions, through somebody's presentation and quality of connection with themselves and with you as a practitioner. It's about listening to what's not yet formed, what's subtle about the situation, about somebody's experience. The way that I teach embodied listening brings together several threads, and they come from my own personal journey over the last 30 years. Things that I practice, things that I learned, the trainings that I attended, my own personal therapy, and really working with thousands of clients and seeing what works and how I can make this practice more accessible and more useful for myself and for others. And so I bring what I learned about focusing, developed by Eugene Gendlin. I've been practicing focusing myself for the last 6 or 7 years, and I've trained quite a lot in it. And it's one of the foundational practices that I do. So focusing is about working with parts. It's about working with felt senses. And it's one of the practices that profoundly changed how I do my own daily practices and how I work with others. It also integrates the understanding of somatic practices, body-focused practices, somatic awareness and somatic resonance, of really tuning in to what's going on for somebody and listening through, not just to the words, but listening through the practice of resonance, tuning into that nonverbal communication, tracking what's going on for them, And it also brings the understanding and the knowledge and the wisdom of the nervous system and polyvagal theory approach and understanding. When you bring all of those together, when they are integrated, listening becomes not just a technique, but a whole way of being present with somebody or with yourself. And so it goes beyond just deep listening, beyond just listening to somebody's words, and really tracking what's going on for them as we are this relational space with them, as we are collaborating with them through the process of them exploring what's going on for them. So, what are the qualities of embodied listening? When we listen in this way, there are certain qualities that we consciously, mindfully cultivate. The first one is curiosity. So, really bringing that quality of genuine openness, not knowing, and a willingness to sit with that not knowing. Curiosity is the gateway to the present moment. And if you've listened to any of the previous episodes on the show, you will know that I talk a lot about curiosity. When we cultivate a quality of curiosity, we shift from being really rigid about what we want to see happen into this exploration, experimenting, exploring, being with the unknown. That in itself is profoundly radical approach, because it helps us move away from wanting to fix, wanting to improve, wanting to make something happen that the mind says it should happen. And often what happens is slightly or sometimes very different to what we thought would happen as a result of that embodied listening. The second one is the quality of patience, really allowing the process to unfold with its own pace and rhythm. There might be spaces for silence when somebody is tuning in to what's really true for them. That quality of patience allows us to tune in into the rhythm and pace of the body's language, because the mind is really fast. The mind, the answers will come. The mind wants to be right about what's happening. The body is much slower. And when we're talking about felt senses, when we're tuning in to what's really true for us, that's a much slower process. And so the quality of patience allows for this slower pace and for the body's language to unfold and emerge at its own rhythm. The next quality that we need to cultivate is that quality of compassion, that warmth and gentleness towards whatever arises. Sometimes compassion can be quite challenging, and because this is such a big word, compassion. And another quality that we can cultivate here is kindness. A very simple kindness. How can I be kinder to myself? How can I be kinder to what's coming up for me? How can I be kinder to this person that I'm holding space for? The quality of kindness allows us to bring that quality of being human. Being human with all the richness of human experience in myself and in the person that I'm holding space for. Another quality that we want to cultivate is that quality of accuracy. So reflecting back what we are hearing and checking if it resonates with the person that we are working with. When we do that, when we reflect back, when we are checking in, we are collaborating with our client or the other person. We are in this process of relating. We're creating what's present here together. We're stepping outside of this role. I'm the expert. I know what's going on for you. I'm going to tell you what you are feeling. And we are just checking in. You just said this. Is that right? Have I heard this right? Is this what you meant? Is this what's going on for you? I'm seeing this. Is this right? I'm observing this, but you are saying this. Let's check what's true for you. It's that process of collaborating that has such a healing power. Another quality that we really want to cultivate here is this quality of embodiment. So orienting back to the body, orienting to the felt senses, coming into the wholeness of the experience of what's expressed here, what's present here, and moving from focusing just on the story. This is what happened, and this is what they said, and I said this, and moving away from just the story created by the mind into the whole of the experience as an embodied experience in the moment. You might have heard me say that before. We always embody something. What is it that we are embodying? And really seeing how is that related to the story that we are saying. Maybe our embodied experience is slightly different to the story that we are telling ourselves. And the last quality in here that we need to develop and cultivate is that quality of resonance. So really listening in a very receptive way with our whole selves, not just with our ears, but also with our body, with our intuition, with our presence, with our energy. Holding space in this way is really healing. That's when we really feel like we are being witnessed, we are being seen, we are being held in whatever it is that we are experiencing. I want you to take a moment and really think about when was the last time you were listened to in this way? And what's changed for you? What shifted within your body or within your experience in a response to being listened to in this way? Or maybe the answer to this question is that you've never been listened to in this way. In which case, I want to tell you that it is possible. It is a skill that we can learn, and a skill and a way of holding space that we can develop for ourselves and when we hold space for others, whether it is a loved one or a friend or a client. This is exactly what we do in our 160-hour training called Trauma-Informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women. It is a skill. Many of us are very intuitive. We are quite sensitive. We are very empathic. We are very conscientious. And many of us intuitively hold space for others with some of those qualities. But what we want is to really develop it as a skill that we can lean into, that is based in our understanding and in our practice, a reliable skill. Because the challenge with intuition is that sometimes it's available to us and sometimes it's not available. Sometimes we don't know what exactly our intuition is trying to tell us. So this is why learning embodied listening can give us a predictable framework to use that includes our intuition, includes our empathy, but we also have got those points of reference and predictable system that we can lean into. So why is embodied listening such an important skill and important practice within somatic coaching? Why does it matter so much? It matters because embodied listening becomes a bridge between body, psyche, and soul and life itself. The framework that I teach within our training certification is called the Integrated Soma-Psyche-Soul coaching method. And the embodied listening practice is the essence of that approach, of that framework. It really matters because when somebody comes to work with us as a somatic coach, this is how we help them to understand what's truly going on for them and how they can make changes in a way that solves the problems and the issues that they came to us to work on. It supports on a very deep level understanding what's going on in our physiology and in our nervous system. It helps us honor our own pace and our own rhythm. It anchors and helps with embodied transformation. It teaches us the way to really build deep embodied self-trust in ourselves. It helps us understand our needs. It helps us understand what it is that we need to do to meet those needs in an empowered way. And as a practitioner, it helps us to take care of ourselves as we are taking care of others and supporting others. And it allows us to teach our clients how to listen deeply to what's going on for themselves. It's one of the practices that we can teach others so they can do it for themselves. So let's take a moment for a little practice here. Take a moment and maybe place your hand on your chest or your belly. Connect with your breath. Notice that you're breathing in this moment. Maybe take a moment to feel the support underneath you, whether it is support behind your back or underneath your sitting bones, your buttocks, your legs, if you are sitting down or if you are lying down, or the support underneath your feet if you are standing up. Maybe take a moment for a little orienting, looking around your immediate environment, grounding yourself through the ground and through your environment, orienting into the safety of your immediate environment. It really helps us to acknowledge that in this moment we are safe enough to turn our attention and awareness inward, that we are not going to be eaten by a big animal or attacked by anybody. And once you've done that, maybe you can ask yourself, what wants my attention right now? What's asking for my attention right now? And just allow yourself to be with your experience for a few moments, without forcing, without pushing anything, without demanding any answers. Just few moments to be with what's here already. And just notice if some kind of body sense begins to form. And allow a word or an image to come up that would resonate with what's present for you in this moment, that captures the essence of what's going on for you in this moment. And then check if it fits. Go back within your body, sense within your body. Notice if that resonates. If the word or image that initially came up resonates with what's true for you in this moment. And then notice what shifts in response to that. Maybe there is a little bit of softening. Maybe there is a slight shift in tension or holding. Maybe there is a little bit more breath or easing off. Maybe there is slight intensifying of that feeling, as if that felt sense, that experience within you is saying, yes, that's exactly it. I'm glad you are noticing me. Whatever that is, whatever your experience is, just simply acknowledge it and let that be enough for now. So this is the practice of embodied listening, noticing what arises, staying with it, letting it move or shift by itself, not fixing it, not improving it, not healing it, not demanding that it tells you anything more than what it wants to tell you in this moment. This is a way of building relationship with yourself. And just like any relationship, we need to approach it with kindness, with curiosity, give it space, give it time, give it acknowledgement, give it love, give it acceptance. So many of us live in this space of forcing ourselves to be in a certain kind of way, demanding that we feel in a certain way, that we not feel certain things. A lot of it comes from especially from our early years conditioning, being told how to feel, how to behave, what to do by adults around us. But we also internalize those thoughts, those ways of being. And so this is the process of unlearning all of that conditioning, all of the shoots, all of the ways of forcing ourselves to be in a certain kind of way and ignoring what's already present here, what's true for us. So I'd like to invite you to kindly, in a very gentle way, to start approaching the relationship with yourself and with different parts of you in this very gentle, kind way. And just notice how that shifts and changes how you are and how your life changes in response to that. And if you're a practitioner working with others and you'd like to bring more of embodied listening into the way that you are holding space for others, then I'd like to invite you to listen not just with your ears, but with your whole being, including your nervous system. So you can notice with the body, the breath, the posture, tension or ease, the quality of their presentation and presence. You can notice with your senses, so the tone of their voice, their energy, their gestures, their eye contact. You can notice and track what's going on for them within their physiology and what it tells you about their nervous system. So the cues of the hyper or hypo arousal, for example, or phoning behavior. You can do it by using and listening to your intuition. Subtle impressions, the metaphors that somebody uses, the connections that they make. You can do it with your energy. So really bring in that somatic resonance, the sense of contraction or openness, noticing where there is a sense of disconnection with you or within themselves, and observing really the subtle shifts. And also noticing where there is a sense of cognitive dissonance or dissonance between what they say and what their presentation, their physiology and the nervous system responses tell you about what's going on for them. So all of this is a skill that we can learn. The more conscious we are, the more mindful we are about what we are paying attention to, the better we become with holding space for others, holding space for ourselves by using embodied listening. So embodied listening is one of the most radical healing practices we can offer. It's simple, but it's not easy. It takes practice, presence, and patience, and a lot of curiosity. And it's absolutely essential and the foundation of the work we do inside our Trauma-Informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women training certification. Because when we listen in this way to ourselves, to our clients, to our loved ones, and to life, we create spaces that are safe enough for the true transformation, embodied transformation to take place. And if this way of working resonates with you, if you'd like to learn embodied listening in this way and weave it into your work with others and the way that you relate to yourself, our next cohort starts on the 3rd of October. There is already a group of women who said yes to this way of working and being with themselves and others. And I'd love for you to join us as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time to listen to this episode. And as always, I wish you a really good week. Look after yourself in the best way that you can, with a lot of kindness and self-compassion. Take care for now.